Straight committee, which means you are running for a particular office identified, whether it's governor, controller, or attorney general. Some people file exploratory committees, which allows them to raise some money and jump around and change their minds. I am not changing my mind. I'm running for attorney general. So let me start with who I am. Personally, I'm a father. I have 3 sons, 1 in college, 1 in high school, 1 in middle school. So with 3 boys running around the house, every piece of furniture in my house is broken or stained. That's just the way life works. I'm an attorney, obviously. I've been practicing law in New York and Connecticut, mostly Connecticut, for 25 years, in civil law. I'm an environmental lawyer. I do all kinds of business and civil litigation. I live in Reading, Connecticut. Before I ran for attorney general 8 years ago, I was in zoning board and a bunch of local offices. I ran for state rep, and I served 3 terms, 6 years as a state representative with Jan Giggler and Dan Carter, and Will came after just as Dan and I left. 6 years up at the State House. I was on the Judiciary Committee for 3 years. I was the head Republican on the Environment Committee. I was on the Finance Committee, and I watched us start from a horrible minority to building the numbers where we are now, to where we can actually get some things done. And I'm hoping to become your next Attorney General to finish the job. Last year, or a year and a half ago, I was the Republican nominee for U.S. Congress in the 4th Congressional District, right? No, not this district, just down south. All of Fairfield County, essentially. For 17 towns. I was also the Independent Party nominee, which actually I think I got that nomination in this room. We did it all right here. The good news about running for U.S. Congress in the 4th Congressional District is I got 125,000 votes, which is an all-time Republican vote total for anybody. Even the guy who ran Congress last time. No one ever broke past 90 who won. All the other guys who ran broke. You'd never get out 80. I got 125,000. The bad news is Jim Himes got 150,000, so he's down in D.C. So I took the year off, and I decided, what do I want to do? Am I done being a public servant? Do I want to run for office? What do I want to do? Well, as the field sort of in Connecticut, as everything started to play out, I realized that running for Attorney General could actually help me, would enable me to do the things that I wanted to do as a congressman, and as a state rep, and as a zoning board member, and as everything else. I want to restore the economic promise and prosperity to our state by doing the things that only attorney generals can do. And that is, for the most part, a stable tax and legal regulatory structure. And that doesn't sound sexy, but that actually is the thing that affects your economy the most. When businesses get hit by new laws, new regulations, and new lawsuits, they pull up stakes and leave. And I've watched it both when I was a state rep in Hartford, and then actually as a commercial lawyer down in Greenwich, where I represent businesses large and small. People are running out of this state because they're getting hit every way from Sunday with new laws, new regulations, and new lawsuits. Lawsuits brought by our own state. Now, I always ask this number, see if anybody, how many lawsuits do you think the Attorney General brought last year, the last full fiscal year? Just pick a number. Higher or lower than 10,000? I'll give you the answer so we don't have to kill time. 18,000 lawsuits. The Attorney General of the state of Connecticut brought 18,000 lawsuits last year, or the full fiscal year. Now, some of those lawsuits are necessary. Fine, I got that. But 18,000? My God. The Attorney General has to know the difference when it's time to pick up the phone and call a business, and when it's time to pick up a pen and file a lawsuit. I believe in the phone first and the pen second. The Attorney Generals we've had, Blumenthal and now Jepsen, Blumenthal much worse than Jepsen, by the way, with the exact opposite. They were more interested in getting in the newspaper than they were in actually making people safe and prosperous. That's got to change. So here's what I bring to the office. I mean, first, 25 years experience, you know, a conservative legislative approach, a conservative law enforcement approach, a conservative civil lawsuit approach. But more importantly, it's what I bring to the ticket. I always talk about, one of the things I personally, you see it on my palm cards, we have a stack of palm cards, I don't know, we hand those things out. You see, I always put on the football picture. I played semi-pro football in my 40s. I still coach football now. In the Aspentuck Wildcats, we actually played Danbury in the youth program for a bunch of years. Some of you guys, hey Mom, you were yelling at me on the sideline a couple days ago. What was that? I always put the football picture on here because I'm a team player. First and foremost, I'm a team player. And that's what I bring to this race. Because, shocking as it may be to me and other people don't come out on the first Tuesday in November to vote for the Attorney General. They come out to vote for the governor, for Mark. So what Mark needs, and what we need as Republicans, is a ticket that's going to support the entire ticket. It's got to be a team approach, because if we play as a team, we're going to win as a team. But if we play as 5 individual races, LG, controller, treasurer, we're going to lose. We're going to lose again. So what I can bring is 6 years experience in Hartford, years before that, in the local level, team approach, plus 125,000 people voted for me a year ago in Fairfield County and say, oh, I know that guy. I know. So I bring name recognition, something that Mark and any other of the candidates with Mark could use. Mark's, there's 3 people in this race who've got name recognition in the 6 figures. There's Mark, there's me, and probably Tim Hurst, because he ran for treasurer. Everybody, whoever it is, we have to approach this as a team, and that's what I intend to do. So I bring the experience for the office, and I bring the experience for the ticket. That's the key thing. So what I'm doing is I'm asking for your support. I'm the only declared candidate. This young lady has an exploratory going. I don't know if she's going to flip the switch and go which direction she's going to go in. But I'm running for AG. I have been for the whole time, and I hope to get your support. So how do you support? A couple of ways. A, delegates. B, dollars. And my treasurer, one of your guys. You guys know how this works.
Yeah, we do.
Right, yes you do.
There's a couple of things that are really important to understand, and it just plays right into what Mike was saying before. And that is that he's the only registered candidate for Attorney General. There is one person with an exploratory committee. There are dozens of people running for governor, which means nobody's going to know who our candidate is for governor until the latter part of August. So what we've got to count on to get the Republican recognition and Republican image out there on the front end is other folks on the top of the ticket. So we want to have people on the top of the ticket that can start laying the groundwork for Mark, presuming he's going to wind up coming out of a primary in August.
And that's the key thing. The sooner I qualify, the sooner we get past the lower tickets guys getting put in place, the sooner I can start pitching the whole message, the broader Republican message.
And if we have
economic
less of a
discipline,
battle,
lower taxes, stable tax and regulation.
it works.
That's it.
It works in our favor. I've got forms here that I'm going to pass around some, but let me also say there's the ShabanforAG.com is the website. That's actually even a preferred way to file and process. Canada is exactly right.
So with that, I don't know if anyone I could always tell the chairman's looking, starts to look at you, you can feel the eyes burning in the back of your neck. He's like, all right, enough already, Shaban. Anybody have any questions or thoughts? Questions or thoughts? Hey, the question in the back, sir.
When you were in Hartford, what legislation did you write to spend much money in Hartford?
Well, I voted for all. I contributed and voted for all of the no tax increase budgets that the Republicans passed. So we all contributed to that. Back when we were 38, 45, and then 53. So we all contributed to that. Some of the specific legislation that I helped pass, since I was dealing with the DEP, was to streamline permitting and reduce staff. Some of the legislation that I pitched was to define contribution plans. That's the key thing that's killing the state, by the way, is the pension and benefit structure. So I proposed it, pitched it, wrote it, and voted for it 6 years in a row. So, any other thoughts or questions? Thoughts or questions? Thank you.
What's your qualifying amount?
75,000. I think it's actually 76 and change, but it's
Yeah.
How many individuals?
It's actually not
No
individual,
limit.
it's $100 or less.
Okay.
Yeah,
But-
it's statewide.
Yeah, and the rep and Senate rolls, you can go to $250, but in the other top office is only $100.
Yeah,
So that means by definition,
Thanks, Will.
there's got to be
Yeah,
750 people.
You guys changed the rules?
They slipped it in at the last minute. What's your take on Governor Malloy's early release program?
I was not a fan of it. I voted against it many times, and I also tried to work against it. Some of it was good. Some of it is good. I was actually one of the people who espoused drug courts on the Judiciary Committee, because I believe if there truly are nonviolent criminals that are getting strapped into a cycle of going to court and getting in prison all the time, based on addiction, a lot of states have used a drug court model that gets a lot of them out of it. It doesn't always work. But there's a diversionary path. We have a bunch of diversionary programs in the state of Connecticut. Some work, some don't. But his whole early release program, didn't like it. Voted against it, not because I don't believe in early release for people who behave well and are trying to rehabilitate themselves. I don't believe in hard formulas that remove the personal factor, whether it's the warden, the parole board, or a judge. We want people who can take a look at that, not a bunch of legislators that are trying to get in the newspaper saying, "Look what I did, look what I did." So I wasn't a fan of it. That being said, the Attorney General doesn't really deal with the criminal side as much, but regardless, that's to answer your question. Any other thoughts or questions? Well, yeah, I'll try and be back and visit. I appreciate your time. And again, Shaban for AG, we're gonna do the car salesman. Say shabanforag.com, shabanforag.com. Anything? I'll be here for a little while. If you have any thoughts, thanks for your time. I appreciate it. Paid for by Shaban for AG, John M. Whitcomb, Treasurer. I'm John T. Shaban, and I approve this message.